The views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host, guests, and callers who are responsible for their content and do not reflect the opinions of In-Touch Radio or its staff.
You got it? I have nothing.
Oh, I hear it. Yeah.
Oh,
Plug that up. You ready?
you get me plugged in.
Welcome.
All right. It's 2023, y'all. You know what that means if you can hear the sound of my voice. It is indeed another great day, and you are live on In-Touch News Radio, reality radio, where we say and mean you too can be a star. As you can see, I'm decked out in my Kappa regalia, bopping the tam, got the shades going. And basically, this is a result of a lot of partying, y'all. I've been partying for about 2 weeks straight. My voice is barely holding on. I was in recovery after New Year's, and then J5 kicked off. So it's just been a crazy couple of weeks, and I'm just excited to welcome you all officially to 2023. This is going to be a great year as we continue what I call our recovery from COVID, and we get back to some normalcy. In spite of what COVID's ominous specter still beholds, we know it's out there. We know that it's something to be aware of and that we have to deal with. But I encourage everyone to push forward to getting your life back to some semblance of normal. So 2023, let's make it be a great and successful year. And as we kick off this first show, I'm just excited to put a bow on 2022. And to do that, I have in the studio with me this morning DJ CEO. For those of you who are familiar with the In-Touch News operation and full suite of services, they serve our community in so many ways. And one of the big things that Daryl and Tammy did a few years back is they created something called the Power Couples Ball. And I like to say it's the Power of Couples Ball because it really reflects on what love can do, what two people together, driven together to work hard can do, and in this walk of life that we take on. And so this year, they gave us a surprise because we suffered through COVID not being able to gather up. And this year, they moved it to New Year's Eve. And I know a lot of you all, I'm going to say you grown and sexy folks, you know who you are, have been looking for something to do where you could party, be safe, and celebrate on New Year's Eve. And so Daryl and Tammy moved the Power Couples Ball in our local community to New Year's Eve. And we did it up. And so I got DJ CEO in here to kind of give a recap of that. Good morning, DJ
Good
CEO.
morning.
How you
Good
doing?
morning. I'm good, Clint. It was fun. We had a really good time.
Yes.
It went over quite well. You know, originally we were going to be at the Floridan Palace Hotel.
Yes.
And they had a flood, and so we had to move 2 weeks before. And it was just it was God's will for it to go off as well as it did. And of course, you know, we prayed hard. But I want to just thank everybody for coming out and hanging out with us for New Year's Eve and for the Power Couples Ball. You know, the Power Couples Ball, we like to say that it's a staying in love and keeping our community strong. But it's also an opportunity to put powerful people doing powerful things, putting couples together.
Yes. And you all do a great job of that. I thought this year the program was much tighter. It was much more party driven.
Yes.
And there were some classic touches. I like the touch of it being at a hotel and then adding the rooms to the sponsorship tables.
Oh, great.
Was nice. It took away a lot of stress. You just knew I could drink, I can party, and I just go back upstairs. Go back upstairs.
Oh, so you like that?
Yeah, I like that piece. I like the band. I don't know who they were.
Okay.
But they did a great job of singing. And I just thought it was really more. It seemed more intimate this year.
Well, and it's about the intimacy. It's about showing what love looks like, and you saw a lot of love out on the floor.
Oh yes, I mean, in our community, I guess it's every community. Hopefully, wherever you are, there are people in your community that are thoughtful enough to celebrate in various ways. We always celebrate things there, but there's an undercurrent of a celebration for a purpose. And remind people what that purpose is underneath. We do the Power Couples Ball because we're raising money to do something.
Well, we're raising money for the Braxton Darrell Johnson Foundation, and that the program that's under the foundation is called the Last Mile Scholarship. Our son died in his last mile coming home from Tallahassee, and so we celebrate him by providing a young man, a scholarship that's in their last mile. That last mile is measured by them being in their last year of college and or grad school, and we give them a scholarship for that time. You know, life happens, and so when life happens, you have a lot of young people that don't finish school.
Yes.
They get pregnant, you know, they don't run out of money, you know, they get a job. All these things compound their not finishing, and so we want to ensure that they finish what they started, and so that's where the Last Mile Scholarship comes in, and that's why we're doing the Power Couples Ball. The Power Couples Ball was the creation from my wife, Tampa Bay Tammy, who after my son died needed something to really keep her busy, and it has. With that, we promote family and marriage, and that's really what the Power Couples Ball is all about.
You know, it takes really strong big people to take something as impactful as losing a child, and I'll just say that I had a brother who died young, and I watched the anguish of my mom for decades, where she would just, you go over for Sunday dinner and she just want to cry, and I just saw, and there was nowhere to go. There was nothing you could do.
Nothing.
There's nothing to do. The ability of you and Tammy, and I knew Brax.
Yes.
Watched Brax grow up. I think I was next door when I heard Brax had happened.
Yeah.
Everybody scratching their head like, how did that happen? Biology has a way. But you ought to take that and share it with our community in such a powerful way, Darrell. It's profound. It speaks well of you all as people, but it's consistent with the life that you've lived and what you've done in our community. And so for you to come and thank us, we should really be thanking you.
Oh, man.
You know, I'll give you a comparison.
Okay.
I remember when Tony Dungy's son passed away.
Yeah.
And Tony Dungy stood out in that parking lot as people came by to greet him and console him.
Mm.
And he spent more time consoling people. And
Right.
I just remember sitting there, that's a different kind of person.
Yeah.
And so I commend you and Tammy for your ability to do that.
Thank you.
The way that you're able to pull people together, I don't think anybody else can do. And I'm in some powerful groups. You know, we got the MLK celebration going on.
Right.
We've got the Toba Breakfast with 40 years of history. I can run down the list of things. Kappa Alpha Psi. I can just run the list of organizations doing stuff, and you and Tammy just raise your hand and say, "Listen, community over here," and everybody runs over, and you do a great job at it, and you're filling some space. I think that needs to be filled.
Yes.
And so I want to congratulate you on a great event.
Thank you so
I had a
much.
great time. I brought one of my childhood friends, and I'm just take a little personal privilege.
Okay.
We come from Georgia. We're country's all get out. And when I say country, I'm talking outhouse, a well in the front yard,
Ooh,
country.
country.
I'm not playing with y'all peoples. I'm talking make your own toilet paper, country.
Ooh.
And y'all people say, well, we made our own soap. We made our own toilet paper. We'll up you one on that. Now, and I land in West Tampa, and that guy that came with me, Frank Jackson,
Okay.
kind of a couple years older than me, said, hold on. Come over here. Stand right here till we get rid of that draw first.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to show you how these streets work a little bit.
Okay.
And an example he set for me, he got married. Him and his wife Janelle been married for 40 plus years.
Wow.
Great example of the love. And I've been trying to get them to come out.
Yeah.
And at my son's graduation event, she agreed to drag, because he won't come nowhere.
Right.
You got to put a suit and a tie on and dress up. And I tried to say, man, you got to wear a tuxedo. He was like, he wasn't having that. He wasn't that. But they came and they were just ecstatic to be there.
Wow.
And that's a couple that have never been touched.
Right.
Suddenly in the forefront, getting to celebrate.
Okay.
You may not have noticed it. You maybe noticed it. There were a lot of singles there.
There were a lot of singles, but let me tell you one more thing. We had more out-of-towners than you can imagine.
And I think that is a great opportunity there for the ball as well.
Yes, yes.
To be a beacon, kind of like the other events that happen there. That you don't have that in the surrounding community.
Well, we are looking, now that we have New Year's Eve, we've been trying to get that date for the last 7 years. We've never been able to get New Year's Eve, but because when the Outback Bowl comes to Tampa, they soak up all the hotels.
Yes,
so
got it.
They lock it down. But we've got the date now. We're in collaboration with the Skills Center, and so we're looking forward to doing some things for the Tampa Bay area that's going to be off the chain, and we want the Tampa community and the rest of the country to be involved in it.
Well, outstanding, Darryl. I want to thank you very much for what you all do in this community. Want to also wish you a happy 2023 and
Happy New Year.
And Happy New Year.
Happy J5.
All right, everybody. That's DJ CEO sitting in for a little bit. Listen. All right. So this is my therapy session, and I come here to get myself right, and so I need some help this morning because, like you all, I've been watching some things go down, and I've just I just need to flesh it out a little, just flesh out what we saw happen up at this most recent vote up in Washington and what has gone on. I'm going to put out a couple of things that I want people to take to heart. A very small number, I think it started out at about 20 people, have held the entire country hostage while they get what they want. And it's a reminder, and I'm going to talk about this throughout the show, of the power of a unified minority. The power. Think about it. 20 people simply saying, here's what we want. Because in a democracy, the body cannot move without enough of the parts to carry itself forward. And so you saw some right-wing Republican remnants of the whole Trump era holding up the speaker vote. And I'll tell you, I'm not sure, it gave Hakeem Jeffries a real interesting platform to demonstrate his leadership of the Democrats. Because the brother he just laid into the Republicans time and time again. Also, here's something that someone sent me this morning, and I know you religious pundits out there, you know it much better than I do. I should know it by heart. But it is out of, let me make sure I get it right. Let me make sure I get it right. I think it's Mark chapter 8, verses 36 through 37.
You some religion into that? Oh, okay.
Somebody somewhere is just shaking their head. Clint has been. I want to take time for you all to look that up.
Bow your head.
Everybody, when you say amen if you got it, say hold up if you don't. But listen, in that verse, Mark is talking about losing your soul. He talks about, for what shall a man profit if he gain the whole world and lose his own soul?
Yeah.
That's really what he's talking about. And what those Republican holdouts demanded of Kevin McCarthy was, give us the last little bit. Give of your soul.
Of your soul.
And I think, and we'll find out, over the next, few months and years, whether or not that's going to hold up. Because I think he gave up his soul. And now you can't get it back. He's giving it up now.
He made a deal with the devil.
They demanded it. I thought the honorable thing would have been, we don't have a lot of honor sometimes anymore, is to turn and walk away and say, it's not for me, and for what the institution demands and requires, it's clear it's going to be after somebody else. But here's why he fought so hard, DJ CEO. In the power structure of America, most people know it's the president.
Right.
It's the vice president.
And then it's the speaker.
It is the third most powerful person in the country is the speaker. And this man has been fighting and angling his whole life to get to that speakership. So
really, quite frankly, the president and vice president really need to be careful.
Absolutely. We got a caller calling in. Bells will bring that caller in for us. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good morning. This is Professor Seabrook.
Wow, Professor. Happy New Year to you, Professor.
Happy New Year, Professor.
Same to you. Same to you.
Good. Listen, I assume that you watched the the votes this week.
Well, some people call it the clown show, and I'm not really adverse to that either. But yes, I've watched some of it.
Listen, making sausage is not pretty. Like I said earlier, I'm from the country. I watched them make sausage. And when they pour that big fat of lard in there, you just wonder, how is that going to come out well? But it do on the other end. So we got to see from C-SPAN all of it.
Oh, okay.
All of it.
I didn't see. I wasn't looking at C-SPAN.
Did you see? They almost had a fight last night.
Yeah.
Professor, did you see the fight? You saw that? Hey, somebody was saying somebody need to kick Matt Gaetz' butt. And he almost got it kicked.
Yeah.
But what do you?
Well, I don't know. I think that guy was from Alabama. I don't know if he could have made it through.
Arkansas was Arkansas.
I think Matt could have got him.
You think so, man? Matt got too much hair, man. He got too much hair. The guys with a lot of hair on their head can't fight.
They can't fight.
A guy with a lot of hair on their head, you know that, man. You go to prisons, you see the guy with a lot of hair on his head, you know he can't fight, man.
Oh man!
Ask some of your friends about that.
Brother, you gotta cut your hair.
Yeah, you gotta cut your hair, man. You want some respect. But Seabrook, so you're watching this. Just tell me some thoughts and impressions you just as you watch this play yourself out.
Right. And I looked at it from both ways, and honestly, I wouldn't have used the term clown show. I mean, I'm just not that person. Just attached that type. I just wouldn't say that. But I'm wondering for what good reason. It seemed just a grandstand. There was really no opposition to Kevin McCarthy coming in. And while they may have been, and I don't follow it closely, but we knew from the last Congress, we knew he was minority. We knew he would come in. We knew he was a moderate. So there was nothing that really came out that should have changed anyone's mind. Now, Matt Gaetz, I really like Matt Gaetz. I mean, he's going to be that sounding board to me. Him and Marjorie Taylor Greene. I mean, they're like soulmates. I mean, they're going to say something. They're going to be, to get a rise out of you. They want the MAGA crowd to know, we are still in these walls, doing whatever we do. But I did not get his point because he even turned on Jim Jordan.
Yeah.
A couple of days ago, one of Jim Jordan moved from committee, and I'm like, wait a minute, I really like Jim Jordan. So this is where I'm not sure. It was circular. I don't know what his point was. I mean, I heard him talk about it. He actually made a good case against Trey Gowdy. He was like, hey, well, I'm not taking any talking points from Trey Gowdy, the guy who had these committees on the Benghazi investigation that ended up with nothing and all this good stuff. I mean, so he's prepared to defend his position. I'm just not clear what the position was because he had no winning path from the beginning.
If you could, for President, hold on right there for a minute. I'm being told by Belzer behind the board that we need to take a break. I think he's blaming on DJ CEO, but we're going to take a quick break. And we come back and we're going to let you flesh out a little bit more, kind of your perspective from a pseudo-Republican, independent, non-democratic view, if we can. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio. It's just a party, y'all. Hang in there with us. We'll be right back on the other side of the break.
So believe we hunted down 813-248-6300. Everything gon' be okay. Call Ricky, he coming. He taking care of state of Florida. Grab a pen of sundown. 184-361-RIG. That's 184-361-425. Never word from the point forward. Just recline. Just ask Ricky. Plus your boy statewide. Just in case you missed it, I'ma tell you one more time. 184-361-RIG. Call Ricky. Ask Ricky. Legal medical referral service. The doctors and lawyers in our network are trained in handling auto injury claims and getting you the best medical treatment and recovery. Dial 1-844-361-RIC. That's 1-844-361-7425. Ricky. Ask Ricky.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661. By now, we're all aware of the dangers of COVID-19. Like others with existing health issues, cancer patients are at a high risk due to their compromised condition. If you are newly diagnosed with cancer, your care likely can't wait. Moffitt Cancer Center is the best place for your cancer concerns and to provide guidance to help you plan your next steps. We're here for you. Call 1-888-456-2839 or go to moffitt.org/here for you.
Nestled in the heart of West Tampa, the Maduro Marauder Cigar Lounge offers a wide variety of premium cigars from Esteli, Nicaragua. In addition, the lounge offers a relaxed environment for you to come back, lay, chill, and relax and smoke a great cigar. Visit us at our brick and mortar location, 1944 West Main Street, Tampa, as well as online, www.maduromarauders.com.
Reality radio, everybody can be a star. I got my man Professor Siebert, one of the co-hosts of the show, on the phone, calling in to give some alternative views of what we witnessed this week and how it all will play itself out. Professor, you still there with us?
I am.
Absolutely. All right, so go ahead and pick up. So you were giving us some of your impressions about. You mentioned some of the stuff about Matt Gaetz, but wasn't Matt Gaetz really just using the power of the minority that he has?
Well, I'll tell you, I had some time to think about it during the break. I've been seeing different things, and when I refer to a lot of things that I say on this show, I always talk about my right-leaning friends. When I really want that hardcore right voice, I don't have many friends in person, right? So I have to go to Twitter, right? So I get my news from Twitter. So, someone made a good point about they want a speaker, and they want the Republican Party to have a speaker similar to what Nancy Pelosi was. She was she was a beast. She got what she wanted, and if you opposed her, she had to weigh 1,000 people and blah, blah, blah. And they kept showing that clip where Nancy tore up Trump's, copy of his speech.
Yeah.
They're like, remember that. Well, that's not what Matt Gaetz was trying to do, but Matt Gaetz is saying we want somebody kind of like Nancy. We don't want this soft Kevin McCarthy that's going to be this moderate that's going to roll over and not going to have these investigations that we want. I think there's a lot of revenge taking place, and we want the same investigation into the laptop, Hunter Biden, what Joe knew as VP, blah, 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 the origins of COVID, all of those very, and I'm going to say that at least the origins of COVID, that's a galvanizing, that would be a galvanizing investigation, galvanizing for the base, and it'd be really helpful to Trump, who's he's there in the background go, hey, Matt, I like what you're saying, but hold it down because I've already endorsed, McCarthy.
Right.
So as all that was going on, the backdrop was Trump going, like, what are you doing? I think he made up with Trump by throwing Trump's name in and said he nominated Donald J. Trump for Speaker. I think that was his way of saying, okay, I'm about to come around. I'm done with this acting out because, 2 votes later, he finally concedes. Matt Gaetz. So, for what reason? It's not immediately clear. But I'll tell you this: what I saw, and I didn't like, because they did the same thing with Michael Steele. And you probably already ahead of me, just me bringing up Michael Steele. When they threw Byron Donalds,
yes.
Yeah. When they threw him in the mix, and I'm like, this guy's not going to garner any votes. If anything, now you're going to kind of sully him because he's going to see just what his colleagues think of him, and it won't be personal. But he's not ready for a speakership, and I like Byron Donalds, don't get me wrong, and he's a star in my mind. But just for them to do that, hey, we got a black guy, you got Hakeem Jeffries, we got a black guy over here, so you're not even taking Donald seriously. You just put him up there because you could. Yeah. So there's a lot of, I won't say it's disarray. I think it's kind of helpful. Helpful being that Kevin McCarthy now has been shown through 15 rounds of voting, he knows that a lot of people don't like him. He even knows of the 200, and if he was lacking 20, so the 200 and what, 11, 210, what 212 he got, or whatever it was, not all of those were his, he was their first choice. You know, he had to make concessions behind the scene before he even got there. So the point I'm making is Kevin McCarthy, I think, is in a very difficult position now. Coming in as Speaker, he can't drop the ball, or they're going to be all over him. And, you know, it doesn't take a whole lot for Trump to turn on you. So if Matt Gaetz can make amends with Trump and Kevin McCarthy drops the ball, you know what the Orange Man is going to do down here in Florida. He's going to start shaking trees going into 2024.
You know, I didn't like seeing it look so messy. And I don't think they did a good job early on of explaining before the vote, these people that objected to Kevin McCarthy, some of their issues. And one of them was they did not, you mentioned they didn't want a Nancy Pelosi type. I agree they did not. They did not want a speaker that had such absolute authority, I thought, is what they were fighting. Let me run off a list of some things that they said that they were demanding that Kevin McCarthy do. They demanded that he give certain committee assignments, right? I don't know that that's I don't see anything wrong with fighting for that.
Neither. You
want my vote, then hey, here's what I'm demanding in exchange for that. Okay? So I don't think that was unreasonable. They wanted to go back to what had long been the situation with the speaker, that one person could call for a vote to oust the speaker. I don't know that that's unreasonable because that's a long tradition. Now Nancy Pelosi got rid of it, but before that was the standard. On budget issues, they want individual bill votes, not omnibus bills. Again, I don't know that that's radical. It may be difficult. It may put some people in tougher spots to get things passed. And then they also wanted 72 hours to review a bill before it called for a vote. Again,
definitely reasonable. Yeah.
I don't see that. Don't sound crazy to me. And then the last thing, they wanted something to where they pushed for fighting for a balanced budget. And so, but they just didn't message. They didn't have a message vehicle. Nobody would. And of course, I'm going to say this before you say it. The liberal left media wouldn't get that message out. Let me say it for you. So you can go. I don't know if that's a good.
Thank you.
You know, my voice isn't as heavy as yours. The liberal left media. Thank you. So, yeah. But they didn't do it. That to me, and I was looking at the stuff they were asking for. You know, and I saw with Matt Gaetz. They said, Matt Gaetz, well, why did you now finally vote president? He said, I didn't have anything else to ask for. Translation, Kevin McCarthy gave them everything that they asked for, hence my Mark reference. He gave away his soul.
That's interesting.
Yeah, he gave away. And Matt Gaetz said, I had nothing else to ask for. You know, so yeah, go ahead and vote for him. But I think he's going to be a pretty weak speaker. And I think this beholds him having a hard time, or he's going to have to make some deals with Democrats. Because the country is majority of the country is closer to the middle than the far right. Mm-hmm. I think that, and so I don't think it's unreasonable. And I don't know why he didn't do it then. Go get with some Democrats and say, look, you know, how about, you know, you help us out here a little bit. You know, end of the day, you know, we've got to have a government that functions. And
well, you know. 2 points I can bring up. There was rumor that AOC threw that out there, that coalition government. Hey, and maybe from that you can deduce, hey, yeah, you know, we'll peel off a couple of votes to get you the speakership. Yeah. You know, but you really have to play ball with us. I heard Matt Gaetz' response to that was that he would resign from Congress if that would happen. You know, you don't know how true it is. But here's another point I wanted to make. Marjorie Taylor Greene was kind of pissed at Gaetz because she was like, wait a minute, these guys we're all in the same Freedom Caucus, whatever caucus they're in. And we had like a 5-member
little group.
And they had that meeting the day before, and she's like, out of everything that he asked for,
they asked for her.
Committee for me.
Let her know. Let her know what you're dealing with. Yeah. Yes, they did basically cover everybody in their group.
Right. And so here's the thing. Marjorie Taylor Greene, we can describe her a lot of ways. And I don't think that's true. So let's say the media did cover some of what the wish list was. I'm not sure I believe it. And that's a direct result of why I left the party. And, I'm not going to leave politics. I'm going to vote. I'm going to be a responsible, productive member of society. But I saw just too much lying, And I can already say I'm not coming back to the Democrat Party. Probably wouldn't want me in there anyway. That's cool. But because there's no such thing as conservative Democrat. And, yeah, I said it. But still, I could not deal with just what was going on. And not one thing, another thing that Trump brought out of our government is the straight BS, the limits to what either side would go to, stuff that we hadn't seen done since the duelings of the 1800s and early 1900s. I mean, just the stuff that's happened. You needed a Donald J. Trump to bring it out. And I'm like, man, I just don't understand what's going on, really. And so I wouldn't have believed the wish list anyway. Had they told me, like, nah, it's probably something else that they wanted. Because you don't get that much coverage. When Matt Gaetz, yeah, he's a jerk. He can be a jerk. And he had the microphone for a lot of days. You don't do that just for that little weak list that we know about. Those little items, they happen in something else. And so the final thing, that Kozar guy, who I don't know, I'm sure you saw the clip, his body language when he went to flip his vote. He was shrugging his shoulders, head slumped down.
Yeah.
It's like
somebody was holding his family hostage.
Yeah.
Like, hey, man, yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Professor, thank you very much this morning for taking a few minutes with us. As always, we appreciate your input, and we'll see what happens. We got to take a break, y'all. Thanks a lot, Professor. Appreciate you, my man. All right, y'all, we're going to take this quick break. This In-Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody could be a star. We're going to come back, and we're going to tell you why the professor was completely wrong. All the things that he said, everything absolutely, completely, 100%. So hang in there. We'll be back. In-Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody could be a star.
Hey, this is Agent Wright, better known as Mr. Clean. You looking for some great barbecues? Come see them two brothers in the grill, located at 423 Virginia Street, Charleston, West Virginia. We got ribs, chicken, pulled pork, brisket, collard greens, mac and cheese, baby. Come get some and get you a nice, smooth cigar. 304-550-4431. That is 304-550-4431. Come get some, baby. The Rib Man, mama, the Rib Man. Whoa! St. Petersburg, Tampa, Clearwater, and all surrounding areas. Before I let you, here come Miami's own Chico the Leon Crow Folks Night Out. Take that mess from off the wall. Saturday night, January 28th, inside the National Guard Armory. Strictly for the grown, put on your best dress to impress, plus performing live. Only you can make me. Yes, it's Surface Live and in concert. Chico the Leo Crow Force Night Out comes to St. Petersburg Saturday night, January 28th, inside the National Guard Armory, 3601 38th Avenue South, along with Surface. Get your tickets now. Tickets $15 in advance. For more info, call 786-486-4366 or 727-768-4543 or go to grownfolksmiami.com and I'll see you down.
Happy New Year, brother.
Hey, this is Tampa Bay Tammy. Don't forget to pick up your copy of In Touch News.
No worries.
And your favorite old school. Today's R&B. With a smooth touch of jazz. Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live on Intex News Radio, reality radio. Everybody could be a star. We're gonna go a little less of me and more of you. We got a call on the line. Caller, what's your name and where you calling from?
Yo, Clint Harris. Good morning. Can you hear me?
I can.
This is your esteemed fraternity brother, Ed Lorraine, calling in, wishing you a happy New Year and a happy J5.
Hey, man, it sounds good to hear your voice, man, and I trust that you're on the mend. I was excited not to see you out at the J5 festivities. Listen, I'm hurting. It would have put you back on your stomach, or your side, or somewhere. It was rough out there in the streets, but I did all I could to represent you, my brother. Listen, give us some sanity here. What have we just went through with what went on up in Tallahassee? I mean, up in Washington.
Well, that's an interesting point that you bring up, because something like that would never happen in Tallahassee, because all those messy shenanigans and wranglings actually occur really prior to the cameras being on the floor.
Right.
So what we saw was democracy at its worst. We saw 20 people basically hold America hostage. If we had an emergency that, God help us, if the president and vice president were incapacitated for some reason, the Speaker of the House takes over.
Right.
For a week, we did not have a speaker. So if I'm a Democrat, what I'm messaging today is that the Republicans on a national level don't know how to govern. We didn't see that. Now, a lot has been lost. I heard the professor come on, and, look, a lot of crazy conspiracy theories. Somehow, as always, AOC is in the middle of it. Conservatives need to stop with the AOC boogie woman, okay? Yeah. She had nothing to do with anything that took place. She wasn't trying to cut a deal and all this other nonsense. What they need to deal with are the media-hungry conservatives, which I'm going to come back to that in a second, that basically held the country hostage for a week. What do I mean by conservatives? Well, let's be honest. They're not real conservatives.
Okay, thank you. I was worried about that. I was worried about you thinking they really were conservatives.
I'd be completely insulted by the fact that Matt Gaetz is considered a conservative. What Matt Gaetz and Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene, what they are modern-day Tea Partiers, okay? Let's call it what they are. So I remember some lessons I learned early on, right? Clint, you probably heard this from Judge Eric Myers like I did at one point in time. The first thing he told me is, hey, you want to be a good lawyer, learn the rules. If you know the rules, you can do anything. And that's all you saw those 20 people do over the course of this week. They utilized the rules to weaken one of their own. Kevin McCarthy is going to end up being one of the weakest speakers of the House that the country has ever seen. The second rule that I learned really early in politics came from our really, really distinguished brother, Les Miller, who said, Ed, always know how to count. Learn how to count. Because if you know how many votes you got, you know how hard you need to go on an issue. And obviously, Kevin McCarthy didn't learn either one of those lessons. What's happening is you've got these folks who are backbenchers in Congress, at least they had been under the Democratic rule, who are trying to become known, who are trying to get their name out there so that they can raise money and they can keep their seats. That's all that's about. Matt Gaetz has not passed any significant legislation since he's been in the House of Representatives. And I can say this because I served with Matt. Matt has money, and all Matt's trying to do is to raise his name ID. And what you saw with the nomination of Trump was one big wet kiss to the former president who is going to run and likely win the Republican nomination again. That's all that was.
Wow, yeah. I mean, I thought it was interesting to me is the first thing that you brought up is that this was not worked out before time to vote. And why do you think it was not worked out? And that's, of course, because there are no cameras in the back room when you work it out. They wanted that FaceTime.
Well, the United States of America has a policy. We don't negotiate with terrorists. Kevin McCarthy doesn't follow that same philosophy. He negotiated with 20 terrorists who basically have weakened his speakership. Now, if he's a real G, and you know what I'm talking about when I say he's a real G, payback is a mother.
That's my other
Speaker of the House is one of the most powerful positions, so he could easily turn around and punish those who went against him now that he's in the position. Problem is, he made himself so weak that just one of them can get up there and challenge him.
Well, they can put forth a vote, but that vote wouldn't pass, I don't think. I mean, it's not the same vote that you need to become speaker as it is, I think, to remove speaker. Is that right?
That is correct.
Right. So they could call for the vote, but the vote would always be, in theory, you know, if it's one or two that are upset, you know. But again, you got to do your math. You said you got to count. You know.
But you know what? It's about history. You know, how many speakers of the House have had their positions called for? So you just don't want that black mark.
Or you leave. That's what I think. That's what happened with the Boehner. Am I correct? There was going to be a call for a vote. He said, "Look, I'll just go home and sell weed. I'll just go." He said, "I'll just go sell weed." I can be speaker. Listen, I can be speaker, or I can go sell weed. I'm gonna go sell some weed. I'm wrong with that. Listen, I'm sorry, y'all, for saying that. You know, it's not the same equivalency.
We get it, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this. Anybody to get off of this call today and be distracted by what you just heard from the professor or any of the news cycle stuff, the biggest win that happened last night was Hakeem Jeffries, another one of our fraternity brothers, Kappa Alpha Psi, best fraternity in the whole wide world.
Speak on it.
Became the first black person to lead the U.S. House of Representatives.
Yeah.
You know, lead a caucus, I should say, because obviously we haven't had a speaker yet. But 2 years from now, he may become the first black speaker of the House.
And he should. You know, let's expand that a little bit. Your thoughts about his performance all week, really.
Well, you know, he took the right tone, right? When you're in those positions that are political like that, they expect you to be somewhat of an attack person. And he attacked when it was necessary. He also sat back, ate his popcorn, and watched the show like I think most Americans did.
Well,
right?
they actually had popcorn on the floor, didn't they? They actually brought in some popcorn.
They had popcorn and babies and all kinds of stuff. You know, there wasn't any alcohol on the floor.
Right,
that was an outrageous accusation.
Yes.
But, you know, look, it was a show. The Dems didn't have a role to play but to stand back and watch.
Yeah, and continue to show a unified front. What does this vote behold for Biden? Not for Biden and his ability to either work or not work with McCarthy as Speaker.
Well, what you see in that representative government of the House is what you see in state houses all across the country. The House is the most representative body of the people, right? That's why you have so many people there. 335.
Got it.
Look. President Biden knows that the House is not going to work with him. He's not really that worried about it. There are going to be some middle-of-the-road issues that he's going to get some wins on. But the reality is he needs the Senate. He has the Senate. And why? Because the Senate confirms the judges. The Senate confirms the cabinet position.
Yes.
You know, the Senate is where the real action is at, and the House is supposed to be a little crazy. So it's okay. I think President Biden will continue to do the great job that he's done the last couple of years in leading our country right until the 2024 re-election.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Outstanding, man. Listen, Ed, want to thank you for getting up early, getting on the phone call. Go get your meds, kick back, man, and continue to rehab. We're looking forward and praying for a speedy recovery for you, man. And I appreciate you always coming in and giving some sound, sage judgment and that people can rely upon. So, man, hang in there, my brother. And I don't know about you. This is going to be my last day I celebrate our founders. I'm going to finish it up. I'm going to a little cookout some brothers are having. And, you know, just want to wish you well in this 2023.
Thanks, Luke. I appreciate it. Y'all have a great one.
All right, man. Take care, man. Listen, that's the Honorable former State Representative Edna Rain, one of our local community leaders, attorneys, and just an all-around good guy, man. And as you heard him say, really what we saw these emerge of two new leaders over at the House. We have Hakeem Jeffries, you have Kevin McCarthy. But Kevin McCarthy's got his hands absolutely full in dealing with these weirdos. Oh, we got another caller calling in. Let's bring this caller in. Good morning, caller. What's your name and where you calling from?
Good morning, Clint. Robin Lockton. I'm calling from Tampa.
Good morning, Robin. How are you?
I am doing well. You're looking awfully cool on the internet.
Well, thank you.
You have the shades on, so it's all about the politics.
Listen, I'm barely, my eyes about to fall out my face. I'm so tired, and it's been a crazy couple of days. I'm on my last leg here. I'm just trying to get through this show, anyway. So well, listen. So you got to see it, and I know, Robin, you're involved in the community and in politics and whatnot. Give me your impression of what you saw go down up in Washington.
So that was the first time I've ever seen that happen, and I thought it was chaotic, but I thought it was chaotic on the other side. Hakeem Jeffries, he handled himself very well. I was calling because I miss and love the professor, but I have to go against him.
He's listening, so you can listen. He can take. He's a big boy. Express what you're.
Right.
Yes.
So he talked about what Trump did. Yeah, Trump did a lot. He brought out the real party. So he brought out his real party. He brought every aspect of them out. But the question I have, the concessions that were made by McCarthy, or that
yes.
McCarthy made, was that was just for the Republicans to be on the right to have that power, right?
So when the speaker takes office, there is there are certain rules that they decide are going to be how they operate as the party in charge. The rule and every Congress votes in its own set of rules, and
right.
Part of that is what the speaker then has to adhere to. And so in putting that package together, these 20 people wanted certain things added to the rule. One of them I mentioned was they wanted 72 hours to review a bill before it's voted on. Now, you may recall last week there was a 4,000-page bill, $1.7 trillion, that basically they got hours to vote on. That passed, omnibus bill. That's the kind of stuff they're concerned about. They want the 72 hours before that to kind of dig through it and find, where's all the fat, the pork, and all that, or whatever it may be, or change the dynamic. So that rules package has to be voted on as part of the new speaker taking office, and it kind of sets how that person will operate in the position.
Okay. So the committees, and they were vying for it to be on different committees.
Yes, and that's another thing. That's nothing new, though. That's nothing new in politics. Okay, So the key was these folks have been kind of isolated previously, and they were right, and even in the party. In the party, there are people that haven't gotten major roles. So you got people like Matt Gaetz and some of these folks demanding in that Freedom Caucus that they get on certain committees. Like, one of the big ones is Ways and Means. They want to be near the money.
You know what I found interesting, Clint? So listening to somebody else, another elected that was talking, like they don't have us. They think they have a stronghold, but they don't, because we can make concessions with the Democrats to get votes. To work around getting their votes. So I see that for them to have a little power, right? But that was never done.
No, and that was a misnomer, because the reason they wouldn't do that is they don't trust Kevin McCarthy. There was a day, if you were to go back to the 80s with Tip O'Neill, you could have cut some kind of deal like that.
Yeah.
But there's no trust between parties, so Democrats wouldn't trust Kevin McCarthy.
Okay.
Once he's got the speakership, some of that stuff is discretionary. So that lack of trust, and these 20 Republicans were saying to him, "We don't trust you either." That's really what they were saying to him, and that's why I gave my reference earlier that he sold his soul a long time ago, and now nobody trusts him to deal with him, and now he's got this battle on his hands.
So one other question. So the 20 electives, are they Trumpsters? Are they very conservative?
So they're in the Trump, but if you probably can really find they have more Tea Party DNA than Trump DNA. They kind of stood under the Trump umbrella when the Tea Party kind of lost its oomph. They kind of just slid under the Trump umbrella, and now the Trump umbrella is kind of shrinking. They're trying to bounce outside of that, and that's why when he came out and said, knock this off, go ahead and vote, they didn't. They still voted. And if they were really with Trump, once he said that, like a Marjorie Taylor Greene, she voted for McCarthy. But these Lauren Boebert and Matt Gaetz, some of those folks, they held their ground, can get these concessions. And I think the key one was that Matt Gaetz said, the reason I voted for him is I had nothing else to ask for. He gave me everything I wanted.
Correct. He gave me everything I wanted.
And somebody's going to beat me up if they caught me down the bathroom. So, hey.
You saw the guy get grabbed and his, he was going to, hey, but so we can't just skim over this.
Yeah.
This is how serious it is, right? And
yes.
They're about to fight.
Right. Hold that thought for me, Robin.
They wouldn't have.
Hold on for Robin. If you can you hang on for while we take a quick break?
Oh yeah.
Please do. Okay, we're gonna take a quick break,
okay.
And we come back on the other side. We're gonna let Robin finish up her comments. This is In Touch News Radio, reality radio, where everybody could be a star. We'll be right back after this commercial break.
Touch Radio, the most loved station across the nation. In Touch Radio. Tell a friend. In Touch Radio.
Nestled in the heart of West Tampa, the Maduro Marauder Cigar Lounge offers a wide variety of premium cigars from Esteli, Nicaragua. In addition, the lounge offers a relaxed environment for you to come back, lay, chill, and relax and smoke a great cigar. Visit us at our brick and mortar location, 1944 West Main Street, Tampa, as well as online, www.maduromarauders.com.
Who doesn't love being number one? When your team's dominating the standings, or your favorite band rocks the charts at number one, it feels good, right? Kind of like how it feels when you have auto insurance with State Farm. Because making you feel like number one is an honor your local State Farm agent takes seriously. Through the good times and not so good, your State Farm agent's proud to be here to help life go right.
Call Herman White at 961-6661. That's 961-6661.
When it comes to reality radio, everyone is a star.
I know that's right.
On your smooth soul and R&B station. On the World Wide Web.
Access granted.
In Touch Radio.
All right, we're back live on In Touch News Radio, reality radio where everybody could be a star. I've got one of Tampa's most prominent community activists with us on the phone. Robin does a lot of work in the community, getting people out to vote, registering people, and fighting for people's rights in so many ways. And I know while Robin is unique to us, she's not unique to the country, because I know all over radio land and wherever you may be, there are people that are fighting to make this world a better place. And I want to thank you for all your work you do in the community, Robin. You were sharing with us your thoughts a little bit about this this vote with Kevin McCarthy. You had a question you were leading into. What was that question?
Oh, and I claim older and not old, so I forgot.
Well, let me ask you that. Let me throw you a softball then. I got about 2 minutes here. Your thoughts of Hakeem Jeffries' performance throughout the week?
I thought that he was, he made me proud.
Yes.
He was strong. He stayed on message, and he was like, hey, we're not going to present that rhetoric in our party. And he was strong. He impressed me. He impressed me. I'm so glad that they chose that. Chose him. I really am.
It was interesting. This is where you have visionary leadership. You may recall that he played a key role on January 6th.
Yeah.
And so his voice is nothing new to us.
Yeah.
Now, we've heard that voice. He's gotten time to be in the forefront, be in the limelight, be under pressure. And what a seamless transition that was for Nancy Pelosi to know it's time to hand the reins over. They didn't vote for him 150 to 50 or whatever. It was a solid, all the votes went for him. What I found interesting quickly was that when they were going through the dilemma, the Republican Party,
this black guy's name kept coming up, and I was like, well, darn, I wonder if they're going to try to push him up because Hakeem Jeffries is
I think that's Byron Donald. Isn't it? Listen, he is. Here's a theory. Well, let me say this. When I went to work for a all-white company once, a older person in the company came by my office. I was the first black person they'd hired. And the guy came down to my office and said, I want to come down and meet you. And this is all he said. He said, well, I guess you got us figured out. Give me a minute and I'll get you figured out. And he got up and left. And now I extrapolated from that. He was saying, well, you figured out us white folks because you're here now. I guess I better figure out you black folks because I got to deal with you now. And what I keep seeing when they throw out a name like Byron Donald or Herschel Walker, it reminds me that a lot of white America has no idea what really drives and motivates black people. They think if I just put a black face in front of you, that is all you need to see. And that's not true. All right, Robin, I gotta get moving. Thank you very much for calling. Thank you so much for listening. Listen, I need to get you back on my guest co-host list. We gotta talk. We gotta,
Come on. I'm open now.
All right. Well, hey, listen, I'll take you up on that. All right. Thanks a lot, Robin. Okay. You have a great weekend.
All right. You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, y'all. That was Robin calling in. I mean, she is just a great person, works in our community a lot, as do so many people. And we're just so thrilled on this show that people take the time out to call in, to the professor, to my main man, Ed Narain, and, of course, Robin calling in. Other people like Carl the trucker out there, I know you can't be with us today, but I hope you're listening wherever you are. And to all of you out there, listen, I mean, this is a great opportunity as we go into 2023. Fresh slate, y'all. Clean slate. All the drama, all the crap you dealt with in 2022, well, it is now behind you. Now is the time that you can focus on making 2023 into the kind of year that you would like to be. Politically, for the Republicans, it's off to a rough start. Because I would tell you something. Once people have power, once they know they've got power, once they've demonstrated they're willing to use that power to get what they want, it is very difficult to take it back. And I don't think the Republicans are going to be in a position for a long time, as they're finding out with Trump, to take back the power that they have given away. On the Democratic side, we need to be unified. And as Ed Narain said, get ready to re-elect Joe Biden. I assume that in the near future, he will be announcing his candidacy for president. And then we'll find out how unified the Democrats are as they get behind him in his campaign. Again, I think that he has been a very, very impactful president. Really, we've had very little drama with him in office. And if I think the Republicans take their time and effort, and all they do is go after him and the vote about investigating Hunter Biden, nobody really cares about Hunter, really. And if you think that's going to bring Joe Biden down, the worst that could come out of that, I'm going to say it like this. The worst that could come out of that will never touch the worst that we saw out of Donald Trump. No matter, I don't care how bad you say it is. The worst they can create, what it will never touch what we have been victimized or subjected to with Donald Trump. And for that reason, I just don't think there's anything to worry about. There's nothing really to worry about in that regard. So I look forward to Joe Biden announcing his campaign. I look forward to Joe Biden having a really, really good 2023. And I'm hoping that most of you all will too. Because we are really in a place where this can be a very special year. And with that said, listen, everybody, I want to close out the show. We've got a video clip live from it was a clip that was live at the Power Couples Ball that was taken. I want to give you a little taste and flavor. So if you're actually listening to me online, I want to give you a couple seconds because I want you to go log on to the Facebook page. Take a minute, In Touch News Facebook. Go log on our Facebook page. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to do that because we're going to run a video For those that were there, you can remember what the excitement was and how we celebrated. And for those that didn't, you can get ready for next year. This is Clint Parrish, live on In-Touch News Radio, reality radio where you can be a star. And we're going to close out with this video message.